Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Capricorn February 2019 horoscope forecast part 2 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, first thing up is, well, as far as February goes, Venus will be in Capricorn from the 3rd until the 28th, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. This could be about a lot of consistent discipline, but serious energy, perhaps really going into spending on self, and really too, this could be a time as well, if you're unattached at this time, Capricorn, this could be connecting with perhaps a Capricorn love that was someone you knew from your early childhood. It could be somebody instrumental or plays an integral role in new beginnings. It could be a Capricorn sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply one that embodies Capricorn-like characteristics. This could be about money for new Capricorn-like beginnings, such as starting something with dentistry or business or politics. Even information technology, anything with business, anything that could be Capricorn related. Accounting could also be about money spending on business attire to look more mature. This could be about really putting a lot of value in Capricorn traits on a first impression, such as the ambitious and responsible nature of the sign, and really the consistency that is associated with Capricorn, and that really that pragmatic, practical, very orthodox convention about conventionality, and showing that on a first impression, and making perhaps a very good first impression, especially if you're on like some kind of job interview or something where it's really important to make one. So anyway, next thing up, Mars will be in Aries as far as February goes, from the 14th until the 28th. So the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this point in time. Well, this may manifest in contentious, acrimonious matters, perhaps with family members, people you're close to home with. It could be also, it could be with the less dominant parent, which is often the mother. And this could be really about when you're talking about Mars and Aries energy, it could be about easy provocation, but having the anger that subsides quickly. So there may be some battles on the home front, but generally it's not vindictive or vengeful energy. It's not something where you're going to be holding on to that anger for really a protracted or prolonged period of time. This could be a time too where you might be putting a lot of assertive and aggressive energy into home-related matters. It might even be for matters toward the end of that latter part of life. If you're getting prepared for it, I'm not saying this will be the end of your life, but the fourth house is about that latter part of your life, and it might be just doing things by putting all that energy and vitality and really a lot of aggressive and assertive energy into perhaps preparations for it, whether it's making these investments or whatever you feel you need to do to get prepared for it. Now, also too, it could be about a lot of vitality and energy into areas like traditions. It could be something like with sports or firefighting or welding, or anything that could be something that is connected with leadership. Perhaps it could also be a time where you might become somewhat angry with who you are at the core. It could be like, Aries type, characteristics, such as maybe there is a part of you that at the core where you feel that you're about easy provocation, or somewhat acerbic or over or combative, and you might be, there could be something where you might be becoming incensed about to some degree. And also too, this is about really as well, if you're unattached at this time, especially Capricorn, you might be get involved with some with an Aries. It could be Aries sun, moon, or ascendant, or one that embodies Aries-like characteristics that might be involved with a sexual liaison or interlude with one. You might feel very close to home with this person. Anyway, this next thing up. As far as February goes, Mars will be in Taurus from the 14th until the 28th. So the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, this may manifest perhaps in putting a lot of energy and vitality into Taurus-like hobbies and things of amusement and enjoyment. This could be art, which could be a wide divergence of things such as sculpting, painting, drawing. It could be abstract art even. It could be into relaxing even, or even analyzing stocks, doing things that's connected with endurance. It could be like working out vigorously or running, long distance running where you could pace yourself. And also too, this could be about in some cases where situation with children and lovers, maybe even people you might share a hobby or something of amusement, enjoyment with, they might be a little bit more contentious or acrimonious. You could be find yourself getting angry at these people over perhaps determined, persistent baiting or goading and provocation, and you finally might just explode after having all that anger bottled up for a protracted period of time. And also too, if you're unattached at this time, Capricorn, this could be a time too where you might this could be where you might get involved. Perhaps you might have a sexual liaison or interlude with a Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply one that embodies Taurus-like characteristics. And it could be somebody it's a person that you really enjoy this with as well. And it could be someone you may fall in love with at some point, or in some cases it could just be a superficial, perhaps interlude, and that may all be what it's about. So anyway, next thing up. Jupiter will still be in Sagittarius, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, as I've spoken about previously, Jupiter can be rather paradoxical, could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. In some cases, this could expand rather self-righteous, foolhardy, over-optimistic, even reckless behavior. It could be from people that are prominent in your private life. It could be with an aunt or an uncle. In some cases, this could be expanding a Sagittarius-like mental illness, such as hyperactivity or whatever that seasonal affective disorder or whatever that. I don't know if I'm saying that 100% right, but I'm sure you know what I'm trying to say on that. And something it could also be another way this may manifest. It could also enlarge hidden adversaries. It could be Sagittarius hidden enemies, but ones that embody Sagittarius characteristics, or Sagittarius Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people. But this could also, as well, this could be very fortuitous for conquering hidden adversaries as well, and especially if this is making, say, a good aspect, a sextile or trine, say, to perhaps your natal Jupiter. And anyway, could also be where, I mean, this could be about too, where you're expressing a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm in Sagittarius, perhaps in private matters. I mean, they could be doing things that are, sports related, or it could be just being jocular or joking with someone, or doing something with philosophy or religion. So anyway, and going back to what I talked about with the mental illness, that could be very isolated. And of course, a lot of that could be dependent and predicated on the aspects that this makes to points in the chart. Say if this makes an adverse aspect to your natal Mercury or even your third house cusp, that could increase the propensity for that. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Saturn will still be in Capricorn, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, this could be about perhaps dealing with some restrictions and limitations with the physical body. There may be something going on with the knees, the bones, or the joints that might be making you feel somewhat despondent and melancholy, and of course that could be seen readily on a first impression. It could manifest perhaps in Saturn, Capricorn, like new beginnings. It could be something connected with the government, business. It could be dentistry in some cases. This could be even timekeeping. I think what's interesting too about this, I actually have Saturn conjunct my ascendant, which could be like, of course, Saturn in the first house. But I mean, I think it's very intensified when it's conjunct the ascendant. And of course, this Saturn could be connected with timekeeping. I thought it was interesting is that someone said to me one day, because I kept looking at the clock to see what time it is, because we had, I was with a friend and we're timed. We only, we only had a certain amount of time on our hands. So I kept looking at the time periodically, and she said to me, "What are you, a compulsive clock watcher?" I was thinking that might have something to do with my Saturn conjunct my ascendant. I also have it making a trine to my Pluto, and I know that's a good aspect. But the thing about that is, sometimes I think when you have trines and sextiles, I mean, it's generally auspicious, but sometimes it can make energy a little bit easier flowing, and Pluto can be compulsive energy, so you understand what I'm saying. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, this could also be about taking responsibilities to the physical body, especially if this is actually the first house in one's natal chart. And you might be experiencing some restrictions, limitations with your vitality and your energy level, your stamina. It could be about perhaps, I mean, at this time as well, there may be a greater propensity to lose weight. And again, especially if this is actually at your first house in your natal chart. And older people might figure more prominently in your new beginnings and in your outlook at this point in time. So anyway, and you might, on a first impression, you might seem a little bit more despondent, a little bit more melancholy than you usually are. And a lot of times, I mean, this is something too where you're at a point where you're basically might be doing. You're talking about the first house and the self, and really, and Saturn could be about laborious work. So at this time, it might be a time where you're really striving or really feel like there's a lot of responsibility right now that you have to take care of. And sometimes this could be about to your own self-interest, and it could even be again to the physical body, in especially if this is at your actual first house in your natal chart. But it could also be a time where you're driven more to take care of a lot of really doing a lot more work than what you working more laboriously than you usually are, and taking on perhaps and sometimes inordinate responsibility. I think when you're talking about Saturn in the first house. So anyway, next thing up, Uranus will still be in Aries, so the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Well, at this point in time, it's important to be careful that you're looking at this. There could be a greater propensity for shocks or electrocution in one's home. The home and family life might be a little bit more sporadic and erratic than usual. And also, too, you might be dealing with more unpredictable, acrimonious moments, perhaps experiences with home and family members, people you're close to home with. You might be shocked, maybe if you're doing any kind of research into perhaps your roots, your ancestry, or it could be maybe to who you are at the core, how you see yourself at the core. Also, too, this could be also a time looking at this that, I mean, this could be about Aries friendships, that could be Aries sun, moon, or ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Aries-like characteristics that might figure more prominently perhaps in your home life. It could be even in your traditions in some cases. And it might even be too where another way this can manifest is that you might be striving for independence and freedom at that latter part of your life. If you were not already in it, it might be something you're looking forward to as far as the future goes. So those are some of the things that could manifest as far as this goes. And it might be a time where you might be doing, at this time where you might get a home that's maybe somewhat unusual, or something that's, that's a little bit unique or unorthodox. It could be like a home, for example, that's got like these solar panes or panels or whatever. You might have like this door that opens up, your front door, using some remote device, or something. I mean, anything, I mean, I'm just throwing this kind of out there arbitrarily. It could be something where you're just deciding to equip your home with the most modern technology and things that are innovative and, computer devices or what have you. So anyway, next thing up, Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, in some cases, this could be about the dissipation or dissolving of the memory. In some cases, a lot of this could depend on the aspects this makes. Say if this is making an adverse aspect to your natal Mercury, that could increase the propensity for this. And if your Mercury, say, is afflicted or retrograde or something in your natal chart, then of course that could also increase the propensity for something like this happening. It could also be where really your thinking might be a little bit more nebulous and unclear than usual, or it might be too where you might have difficulty seeing that fine print in documents at this time. And also you might find yourself communicating about dreams and other things that are associated with Neptune. I mean, it could be poetry or dance or things with the metaphysical, which can include astrology, spirituality, photography, chemistry. There may be some confounding issues regarding transportation at this time, or I should say something connected with transportation. It might be something with your vehicle, for example, that you haven't been able to figure out or diagnose. In some cases, this could be like maybe you've had to deal with some gas or chemical leaks inside as far as your car or whatever vehicle you may be driving. It could be too where siblings, cousins, and neighbors might be a little bit more deceptive or duplicitous or somewhat nebulous and unclear at this time, more so than usual. And anyway, really, and again, going back, the memory it could be something where this could be about the dissipation or dissolving of the memory in some isolated cases. So anyway, last but not least, Pluto will be in Capricorn still, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now at this time, in some cases, this could be about, now I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to anyway. Some cases, this could be the actual literal death of someone you knew, perhaps in your early childhood. Some cases, this could actually be the death, I mean, isolated, but of the person in question, because you're talking about the first house, and you're also talking about Pluto, and Pluto is connected with death. But generally, how I see this, a lot of other things have to kind of reinforce or reaffirm this based on progressions. You have a lot of energy, say in the 8th house or the 4th and 12th in a progressed chart, or you're having other transits in those houses of those endings, the 4th, the 8th, the 12th, or there's something else going on that might, in your, as far as transits go, that might perhaps increase this, this propensity perhaps for this. So, I mean, anyway, the thing I want to get at too is that this could also manifest as far as at this time, avoid being overly obsessive or compulsive. This could be also about Plutonian, Pluto, like new beginnings. It could be something connected with astrology, the occult, supernatural, doing something of a secretive or covert nature, such as doing covert work for the government. It could be surgery, could be another example, doing something in one of the death, I guess you could say like a death field, such as a funeral director or working as a coroner. Could also be as well, this could be a time where you might be more apt to have surgery. This could be about a transformation of the physical body, and especially if this is actually at the first house in one's natal chart. And also, you want to there could be a time where you might be coming across on a first impression a little bit more, could be like domineering, or maybe in some cases even appearing somewhat manipulative, or something, or being very secretive when you first, as far as a first impression, or somebody that's strongly connected with power and control. So anyway, people, that will conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Capricorn February 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. Stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my Aquarius February 2019 horoscope forecast, part 1 of 2. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.